it's all just a symptom of being human.
Welcome to MSP Kingdom, Episode 3, Chad.
Episode 3.
We are going to start having some guests. In fact, I think the next 2 episodes will be guests, so that'll be fun. We got a couple of good ones lined up.
Hearing less of our own voices.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So episode 3, we got some stuff to kick off here. First, we want to revisit episode 2, where we talked about stop doing break fix. Because after we did that episode on LinkedIn, our friend Brian Gillette, if you don't follow him, you should. He helps techie MSP owners book new MRR. I've been following him for a long time. But Brian Gillette's great. So he had a post in there, and I'm just going to read part of it. It says, there's an ethical argument I could make against the break fix IT support model. They're incentivized to be reactive, not proactive. And this next line is the key. At a time when a single security incident can take down a small business. And that's kind of one of the things we talked about.
Yeah, and I agree with him.
Yeah.
I've had that thought for a long time. It's not that there's not a a need for people who you go to do a thing for you with technology, and you pay them, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
We didn't repair laptops.
Yeah.
We worked with people who would potentially repair laptops.
Right.
And we'd pay them to repair the laptop, and then that's the end of it. But that's not what IT is. And so how can you pretend that you're a doctor keeping somebody healthy when you don't get paid unless they're sick?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And it doesn't make sense. And I don't know how it's lingered for so long.
I don't either. And, again, it was episode 2, and we're talking about it again, but I think for good reason to, part of what you and I want to do is really push this industry to a better place, a higher place. And we talk to MSPs every day, and still, just the other week, how much break fix do you do? Oh, 60%, Mm-hmm. Wow. Really tough in today's world to build the right type of MSP or IT service.
It is. Yeah. And my final thought on it is really, if you think you're an MSP and you've got 60% of your work is billable.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you. You are not an MSP.
No.
Maybe you want to be one.
Yep.
That's what this MSP Kingdom is about.
Yep.
But you are not, and you won't be successful in the long term because it's 2 different things. It's oil and water.
2 different things. I think you've even said it's a pizza shop and a car wash.
That's right.
They both take in money. They both have customers.
Right.
They
both have employees. Both have a building. Well, I'm going to do both. Well,
yep.
Why? Why are you going to do both? It's just 2 different businesses.
2 different businesses. And, that's the thing. If you don't have a plan, get a plan. And hopefully we'll continue to provide content to help, but get a plan. Get off break fix. Get off of it. All right. Today, we're going to talk about the help desk metrics.
Yes.
And really, you want to stop the chaos of surprises and everything else, and you want to make more money. And these help desk metrics we're going to talk about are going to get you there. It's always hard with metrics, too much or not enough, that kind of thing. But you want to be able to take on the right metrics, right?
Yeah, and I spent many years in the service manager role at different MSPs, and there is definitely a thing of too much.
Yeah.
And I understand why people get there. You start out with not enough.
Yeah.
Right. And then the chaos starts to grow. So you try to figure it out. So you get all this information.
Yeah.
And then you're weeding through it all. And when you have too much information, the problem is you might be focused on a symptom, right, instead of the cause.
Right.
And you're trying to treat a symptom but you're missing the cause because you're looking at too much stuff. So we're here today to clear that up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some key metrics, not just with Service Desk, but other things that you need. You really don't need much more than those things in this industry. I tell this story all the time. I was traveling around the country at one point, talking to MSP owners, and I walked into this one place. They'd been around, or they started in 2004. So, at that time, 20 plus years they'd been doing it. And they took me into their NOC center, their network operations center, right? And showed me 8 and 9 very large TV type monitors tracking, hundreds of gauges and metrics and all this kind of stuff. But they still were not over $1 million. Still struggling.
Too much information.
And also, it's just like your business card should say professional tool person, professional
metric
PSA
builder.
or metric builder, like not MSP,
right,
which is a service business. So
that's why we want to start with Help Desk.
Yep.
That is the core.
Yeah.
The core of your service business.
Yeah, so let's talk about the first thing here, first response.
So first response, I think, is the most overlooked metric.
Yeah.
People focus on when did we fix the issue? Are we fixing enough issues? Are we closing tickets?
Yeah.
But the very first thing that you have to do is make your customers feel heard.
Yes.
Imagine that somebody walks up to you and says, "Hey, how are you doing?" Mm-hmm. And you just stare at them blankly for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
What does that make the other person feel?
Or maybe you just hold your phone up to them.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. First response is very important, but a particular kind of first response. Before we talk about the metric, what do you consider first response?
Well, that's interesting. And so, again, hold the phone up to them, or maybe you tell them, just a second. Maybe you don't even say words. You just hand signal just a minute, and you say, my bot's going to answer, whatever. So, yeah, first response, again, I think is a customer client touch point. So it's a touch point for your clients. It shows your commitment to them. It's all wrapped into service and all that type of stuff. It's not technical. It's not, in any way something that you should look at other than it needs to be a touch point to that client. So I would say one thing with it is you want to humanate it, not automate it. Humanate it. I think you should automate what you hate in your business, but if you hate customer service, don't be an MSP. Just get out.
Yep.
Right? Because it's a customer service business, and so or client service business. So, yeah, I think that first response is you want to get back to that ticket or issue or client, and could be. Well, we're talking about Service Desk today, so you want to get back to them to let them know, hey, we got it. It's we're on it. We've got you. No need to worry. That kind of thing. And as you do that and build up trust over time, it builds huge amounts, of not only happiness, but also a lot of grace. You get a lot of grace that you build.
Sure
up.
do.
So, yeah.
Grace is an important word when it comes to that first response.
Yeah.
So you're right. When you humanize your first response, you get a lot more of that grace. Mm-hmm. And so first response isn't the ticketing system saying your ticket's been created. Mm-hmm. And in our opinion, first response is also not your canned email that says, thank you so much, insert name
Sure.
here.
You can have those. Maybe.
Right. But that's not the first response.
No.
The first response is a human being has responded to me.
Yeah.
They've set some expectations. They've connected me. They've humanized this interaction. That's the first response.
Yeah.
So, in our product, we track that a specific way, which is when you've done that human interaction, you can mark off that your first response is done. And we know MSPs whose first response time is on average like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So, and that's for tickets. That's not for calls, right?
Sure.
I mean, calls are a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But when we were building, we really wanted to eliminate the calls.
Yeah.
Because calls are very inefficient.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
especially when, there's always the question of when do you hire a dispatcher? You have your technicians answering calls. Well,
Yep.
they know that Sam can fix their problem. And I'm talking to Sam, fix my problem right now, but Sam's in the middle of something else.
Yeah.
So, if you can push people to submit tickets more,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to actually enhance everybody's first response time.
Yeah. And I think this speaks more also to, if your idea of being an MSP is, hey, I'm going to be at the beach with me and one other employee, and I'm going to have systems and tools that do all the work, like, it's just a joke. It's a myth. It's ridiculous. It's not a business. You're not building anything. We're talking, again, this MSP kingdom, we're talking about building a thriving, solid business, And, you can do some of those other things, some of those automation things. Just don't call them first response,
Right, absolutely.
Yep.
And I can almost guarantee if you're a 1, 2, or 3 employee MSP, you probably are not doing the right things to meet your customers' first response expectations. I mean, we've talked with MSPs who are like, oh, well, I just want to get an email every time.
Yeah.
And we say, well, do you respond to all those emails? Well, no, but then I have my to-do list.
Right.
Like, so you go all day and you're not even going to look at your tickets in your PSA.
Yeah.
But you think you're going to meet your customers' expectations. It's impossible.
Right. And, we also know big ones too, that again, they automate that first response so heavily, that you miss a customer touch point, a client touch point. So, and someone might say, well, how do you scale that then? Well, that's part of the fun of figuring that out. That's part of the fun. We did it. We can do it. Anyone can do it. But you can scale. And have a very big, thriving MSP and along the whole way, you can have that, humanized response.
You can, and if you have to, a dispatcher role can help with that a lot. We grew large without even having that role.
Right.
But that was largely part of the tools we used and the way it was configured. Because it is a response. You don't need to work on it.
No.
When you respond to it.
Yeah,
you just got to give the response.
Yeah, we should be clear about that. It's that response.
Yeah, and that's a part that trips people up.
Yeah. We did have dispatch for a little bit, but it wasn't needed.
Well, it highlighted for us that the real way to reduce friction and increase satisfaction was to not have people call.
Right.
And we had a very effective campaign of, you call when the person who picks up the phone needs to help you because it's urgent.
Yeah, absolute
and we define that to our customers.
Yeah.
And, you think that's impossible? No. I mean, across so many different types of businesses, we got everybody on board with that. And what did it mean? Well, how can you do that? Well, when you respond within 3 minutes of them submitting a ticket the way that you ask them to, they suddenly go, oh, that's fine then.
Yeah.
I don't need to call.
Absolutely. They like it. So,
Yep.
Next one we have here is resolution SLA.
Yeah, SLA.
The SLA word. Yeah.
We didn't have SLAs, but we used the term because, targets or
it's a term in our industry.
It's just a term. Whether you define those expectations or not, they are still there, right? So even if you say, well, we don't have SLAs, but your customer has something in their head.
They do.
So it's good to lay it out. You don't have to make it an SLA in your contract.
Right.
But we did. That was part of that same campaign.
Yep.
We taught them, here's how you put a ticket in.
Yep.
You're going to hear back really quick.
Yep.
We're going to evaluate it. If you need more urgent help, you're going to get bumped up.
Yep.
And then we trained them on what priorities were. And then you can really set your resolution target.
Yeah, I think the other thing that helps too, resolution SLA, is to have your own internal that is better than any potential customer contract or specific customer wanting a agreed upon SLA.
Right.
That way, across the board, you can scale a lot better, easier, if your internal is just better than any of that. So
absolutely. And it's very important for your internal development of your help desk to have have your resolution targets laid out. We built those targets around what the customers would reasonably expect.
Yeah.
So if something is broken, that had the quickest resolution target, right?
Yeah.
If it's a user request, nothing's broken, they just want something done, that's a little bit longer.
Yep.
And then if it's procurement or some IT consulting thing, then those would be, maybe 1 or 2 weeks was the resolution target. But very importantly, we ran a resolution target on every kind of ticket.
Yeah.
Sales tickets, procurement tickets.
That's right.
Quote me a project.
Yep.
I'm an admin, I'm not on the help desk. Well, we're talking about help desk, but we ran resolution targets on every ticket in the org.
Absolutely.
But for help desks, they really lived under resolution targets that were typically going to be 1 business day, 2 business days, or 5 business days, depending on the type of work and the priority of the work. That was kind of the range.
Absolutely.
And then you make it happen. And if you find you can't make it happen, something else is going on. Because successful MSPs, even moderately successful MSPs, they're going to have a smooth flow for 99% of their work. Yeah. And, you always hear, oh, well, there's this reason and that reason. But I remember you would never put up with that, even when we were small.
Yeah. I mean, and the whole pausing the ticket thing and all that and, waiting on customers, stuff like that. You got to push through that because a lot of time customers, they don't have that same thought in their mind. So, you can't pause their expectation. No. And so we didn't. Right. And it was very effective. It was. We removed from our PSA the ability to pause the resolution timer. Yes. Now, after business hours, it's paused, but that's understandable. That's reasonable.
Right. You set it by business hours. Yeah. But, if it's been 3 days and customer's still broken, they kind of don't care that you couldn't reach them. And that's the harsh truth. Yeah, that's right. I tried so hard to reach them. I emailed them twice. Right. Like, well, we didn't try hard enough. Right. Exactly. And we got to the point where we respected the resolution SLA target so much that we would tell the customers, if we can't reach you in this time frame, in this number of attempts, we will close your ticket. Yeah, absolutely. Because we respect you enough that we're not going to be delayed. That's right. Chasing down somebody else when you're waiting for help. That's right. Right. It creates a healthy environment when you do that. It does. And I remember doing a review with a customer, a yearly review, and bringing up their metrics. And I kind of was like, well, I guess we were 100% on first response and on resolution targets. Yeah. And they said, oh, wow, really? Because so-and-so, they went into an issue where they thought that, no, that couldn't have been. And we looked into it and we found out, it wasn't because they didn't put a ticket in. That's right. And what a great bridge, to show them you put in, I think that client had put in like 900 tickets in the year. Yeah. You put in 900 tickets. And in 900 tickets, we kept our promise. Yeah. And the only time it didn't happen is when you didn't follow the process we've laid out for you. And they were just like, oh, wow, I'm going to make sure we put tickets in. It. Yeah, sold on that for sure. So it's so powerful when you hit that. Absolutely. So let's go into tech performance now when it comes to help desk metrics. Yeah, so you're tracking your first response and you're tracking your resolution. And when those fail, they should be rare events and you evaluate those. But, to keep up with that, the name of the game is keeping your customer happy by responding quickly and by resolving quickly. And you can only do that if your team is performing. Yep. And if your team's not performing, you're going to slip and you're not going to hit these things that keep your customer happy. So for tech performance, that's another area where in a previous life, being a service manager, I was tracking all sorts of stuff. Oh, yeah. And you got ticket due dates, and you've got scheduled events, and you've got all these things, this whole, and then customer CSAT, some companies live and die by their customer satisfaction surveys. And if that's the way they want to crack that nut, that's fine. We never did customer satisfaction surveys because we would do 100% first response and they could 99 to 100% resolution. You have to be a little careful with those. Right? So what are you asking? Yeah. Anyway, we just track performance. Yeah. And you can do that actually simply. There's 3 key things, and 2 of them will inevitably tell you the third one. Yeah. So the first of the 3 key things average time per ticket.
Yeah.
Simple metric.
Or
you should
average resolution time, right?
Average resolution time, yes.
Yeah,
average resolution time per ticket.
Yep.
When a ticket is assigned to Tech A and Tech B and Tech C, how long do they take to get through it?
Yes.
And it's important to track that over time because, 1 week, this is the unlucky guy doing a lot of setups, or this is a person stuck on a... Right. But over time, you can really see a picture.
Yeah.
And what you should see is, the times we would target. It kind of depends on the type of MSP you are.
Yeah, I mean, people might have different
the targets might be different. You might be as low as 10 minutes if you're a very transactional help desk.
Right.
And you're still doing password resets. But as you mature, it's kind of interesting. As you mature your MSP, your average time per ticket should go up.
Right. Yep.
Because you shouldn't be getting really piddly stuff on your help desk. You should be getting things that you're paid to do as IT professionals, right?
Yes.
And so we would, good metrics, maybe 20 minutes per ticket or even up to 30 minutes per ticket for people. And then you'd see you want to see them over time. You get that new hire. You want to see them go down. You want to see them start maybe in the 30s and creep down into the 20s.
Yeah.
And you can keep up on your workload.
Yeah.
And just easy metric to track.
Yeah, it's a great metric. And again, you got to put some sensibility into some of this stuff. That's something that we've seen over the years as well, is some of the reporting out there is not market specific, or there's no sensibility in it. It's just, it's hard to see how you're doing, when you don't put that into it. So yeah, you got to know what somebody's working on, how long it should take them. But definitely you should know every single week what was the average resolution time, per ticket for each tech.
Yeah, and our service desk was laid out in, like a lot of people do, in kind of in tiers. And so that time we're expecting our technicians to hit would be different if you are, the first level.
Right, or resolution.
Yeah, if you're an escalation resource.
Escalation.
But, it doesn't matter so much what the number is. What matters is, do you have any people who are outliers?
Right.
And then find out, is it a person problem?
Right.
Or is it a training problem?
Yep.
Or, as we would frequently find out, is it a resource allocation problem? And you find out you got somebody cherry picking the easy tickets and assigning the garbage stuff to new guy. It can get you eyes on all of that.
Yeah, and you got to have it. So next one is value time.
Yeah, this is the important one. So with average resolution, how many tickets should they get? But the other factor is, how much time are they spending working on their tickets? So value time, it was our solution towards really horrible metrics that I would have to track that didn't make any sense. Leverage per tech.
And it's got a dollar amount, has nothing to do with your particular market, It just...
I worked at a place where they talked to me about my leverage.
Yeah.
What do I have to do with
on a dollar
leverage?
amount.
Yeah,
right.
So, what is actually in somebody's power? Well, what's in their power is, are they showing up on time?
Yep.
Are they staying focused? Are they getting through? And, I've heard the horror stories. You read them on Reddit and people saying, and by the way, value time, not billable time.
Right.
If you use the term billable time, just really get rid of that term in your MSP, or change your website. You're not an MSP.
Right.
You do not build a help desk and then track billable time. It's that I'll accept SLA. We're stuck with that.
Yeah.
But calling it billable time is the antithesis of what you should be focused on.
Dinosaur
Absolutely.
time. You are in the Stone Ages if you're still using that term.
That's right. And then you read, I'm quitting MSP forever. I'm never going to work another MSP. They wanted me to have 90%, 100% billable time, 40 hours a week of billable time, all these horrible things.
Yeah.
We were never like that. Our value time was really simple. 80% of your time should be spent doing the work you're hired to do.
Yep.
That's it.
And it's so simple but powerful that, hey, these are the things you should be doing, and you're spending the time doing that.
Yeah.
And if you have a system that's very easy to track time, number one, you need that. And then to be able to look at this value time in that way, and also too, you want to know, you're going to have some weeks where people are a little more amped up and other weeks where they're not. And that's reality as well.
It's true.
So that value time is definitely a lot better metric to look at than anything else we've seen out there.
And you don't want it to be too high either.
Right.
We would get a little concerned if it was over 90.
Yep.
Between 80 and 90, great number. People are focused, getting a lot of work done that you're paying them to do, but not going at a pace that's going to kill them, right?
That's right.
And also, what happens if we had great incentives for people to run out of things to do, which is a great problem to have.
Right.
So if your value time was low because you ran out of things to do because you cleared the work feed, cleared your queue.
Yeah, clear the queue, clear the work feed, you're good.
Yeah, then you're fine on that. Yeah. And included in that was also training time.
Yep.
If you're doing training, that's value time.
Yep.
Right? So working on the type of tickets, the type of work you're supposed to be doing, or training, or meetings, we're not going to, all of that, if that added up to 80, we knew somebody was engaged and doing their job. And guess what? It's easy to spot when somebody wasn't, because
it always played out.
80 to 90, and then this person's 68. Like, well, what's going on?
Yeah. It always showed the right story.
It did.
And so,
And then, of course, you put those two metrics together. Average resolution time for each ticket you work, how much time you spend working tickets, and you get the third leg on the stool, right? Is tickets per day, tickets per week.
Yeah, tickets closed, right?
Tickets closed.
Yeah.
Tickets closed.
Yep.
And that's the name of the game.
Yep.
And
it is.
When you look at these metrics together, how quick did you respond to your customer when they asked you for something? How long did you take to get it taken care of for you? And are all of your employees spending enough time and working things quickly enough to keep up with the workload?
Yep.
That's the end of your metric story.
Yeah, there you go. And the tickets closed, it's great because a lot of times you wonder as an MSP owner, well, how many should people be doing? How many this and that and stuff. And there's different theories or thought about that. And it does depend on some work you're doing and how you do it and things like that. But as you work through these other metrics, it'll help you as well to know how many tickets your organization should be closing for each tech on the help desk. So, but it could range anywhere in a week from what about between 12 to 20 a day. In that range, as somebody becomes more efficient and stuff like that. So, but you want to, again, that's something you want to track towards,
Yeah, real numbers. One of the real hard things to find is real numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked my very first help desk job, enterprise level help desk, low tier work.
Yeah.
My average handle time was 9 minutes.
Right.
And the average maybe was like 14 minutes for the whole org, and I pushed really hard for that 9 minutes.
Yep.
And if you're doing easy stuff.
Yep.
But like I mentioned before, how many tickets you close? Well, you should have a goal that your customers have a small number of tickets that require you. That you're the only person who can help them.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal. If you have customers who ask you to reset their password, if you have customers who need help connecting to Wi-Fi all the time, then you know what? A lot of people can help them do that. They're probably going to do it cheaper than you can.
Yeah.
Right. So when you are handling events that require your expertise, it might take you longer. You might only get 10, 12, 15 tickets a day, and that's okay. That's important as you look across your whole team. And do you have any outliers?
Yeah.
But then ultimately, what's always funny, your team can close 200 tickets when you get 200 tickets.
Right.
And they can close 300 when you get 300.
That's right. Yeah.
And you're like, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why don't you guys just close 300 when we only had 200 and we're done?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that too. And like you mentioned, you can't push people too far. There's an ebb and flow to it.
There has to be an ebb and flow rhythm, what you want to kind of use. You have to, inspire as a leader, stuff like that. But know that there's going to be sometimes you want them to really push it. And other times, back off a little bit. It's like, an athlete, you can't, keep sprinting 100-yard dashes over and over. You need to be able to rest a little bit in that sense. So we used to track kill rate too, which I think is a good one that people should track. It's just kill rate. I have that metric. So.
Yeah, the kill rate metric is just kind of easy global one.
Yeah.
And you just watch those trends.
Yeah.
And if your trend is your kill rate isn't keeping up, then you're going to end up having a problem.
Yeah. And, the last thing to touch on is, we want MSPs out there, IT service. We want you to, get better, be better, work towards that world-class service, all that kind of stuff. But as well, don't have any burnout, be cautious of burnout, with your
burnout
crew.
is the ultimate enemy for your help desk.
Yeah.
If you want a good help desk,
Yeah.
take the help desk you have right now and keep them for a few years.
Right.
And you'll almost inevitably
Yeah.
have a great team.
Yeah.
But if you keep churning people,
Yeah.
if they're running at such a rate
Yeah.
that they burn out and
Yeah.
they go on Reddit and say, I'll never work for another MSP,
Yes. Yeah.
then you're going to have problems.
Yeah, in some ways you can help them not have burnout. Number one, for me, is just respect, admiration, and love towards those techs, those employees, those people on the help desk. They, we used to say, we used to break up the whole idea that, you went from help desk to then a more, higher level engineer, this,
Right.
this, that. We're like, no, these are different parts of an MSP, professional services, maybe projects, help desk, all these different parts. But in each of these different parts, you could have somebody that's been there a long time, high level that is an escalation that's still in there, and they could be making a great, really good money in that, So first of all, have that, respect for them, because really, if you look at your MRR, what you get in monthly recurring revenue, a lot of that will be on the backs of your help desk.
It will.
And, not even so much in projects and stuff. So, be cognizant of that, and also too, you got to liven up your environment, right? You got to have some fun things you're doing as a team, sometimes to really unplug, that kind of thing. And as well, there's opportunities sometimes for people on the help desk to do maybe some other stuff,
That's an important one. You should be watching the talent you have on the help desk and pull them into other things.
Yeah.
Show them that you value them as employees, as technical people, people with an interest and hopefully a passion for technology.
Yep.
Maybe include them on some project work. Maybe include them in some special things that customers needs done. Show them that, hey, they're going to have an opportunity to prove themselves. They're going to have an opportunity to do more and show more value.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Another one in the books. Very excited. We're going to keep MSP Kingdom rolling.
Yep.
And we really, again, our target is to provide good content, entertaining content. We need to work on that one. But, something that MSPs out there, IT service companies can look at, and it helps them in some way. So,
yeah, I hope that more and more people can have the experience we did.
Yeah.
Because it's fun, it's profitable, and
great business.
I mean,
it's great.
It's selling ice cream.
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, we loved it. We love it. It's absolute best place to be. It's one of the most noblest professions in the world. It's great.
Yep.